So, back to D'Angelo. My throat is not going to like me for this one. You make your way through the now familiar rusty maze of the grain terminal and up the stairs to D'Angelo's office. This time, however, you find the room firmly locked. There's a note pinned to the door. You rip it off and scan through the crooked lettering. There's been another one. At the scene now. Come to bed, Sty. Corner of Pulaski and Garvey. ASAP. Looks like D'Angelo could use your help. He can't write properly. Better get going. As you approach the address D'Angelo gave you, a squad car passes you by, sirens blaring. Following it, you make a turn from Delcab Avenue into Pulaski Street. Sure enough, the street is awash with red light, and the 4 or so police cars parked on the nearest corner next to an ambulance confirm that you're in the right place. You move closer to what appears to be the New York's finest convention, looking around in the hope of spotting a familiar, if not altogether pleasant, face. No such luck. True to his Nosferatu lineage, D'Angelo is nowhere to be seen. You stop on the sidewalk across the street, trying not to draw attention to yourself. All of a sudden, one of the cops standing by the entrance to the building looks straight at you. He gives you a double take, and you instinctively look away. Bad move, you think to yourself, as you notice him making his way towards you. Calmly wait for him to approach. Not allowing panic to set in, you stand your ground, doing your best ordinary citizen impression. The cop waddles across the street towards you, his sense of authority putting that extra spring in his step. You try to remain calm, even as he puts a hand on his holster. Shit. You can't help but mouth the word. This is about to get messy. Suddenly he stops, as if instinctively realizing he was just inches away from a grisly demise. He waves at you dismissively and yells in a thick Brooklyn accent. I'm not doing a thick Brooklyn accent, I don't even know what that sounds like. Hey, this is a active crime scene, be on your way. I can't do American accents at all. Can't you see I'm walking here? Relieved, but trying not to show it, you put on your grumpy New Yorker face and start to walk away. As you make your way past a dark alleyway, someone grabs you by the arm and pulls you into the shadow. Hey, I'm Christopher Walken here, bleh. If the smell of cigar and cheap cologne didn't give him away, the gravelly voice sure does. Nice save. I mean, dumb to show your face around in the first place, but still. Come on, I'm parked around the corner. Before you know it, you're sitting in the passenger seat of a busted old sedan parked half a block away, giving you a nice view of the police gathering. Feeding opportunity, we can take them. Wait, what? I didn't click that. We can take them, no sweat. See, there's only 2 of them. That we know of, might be more inside. I don't know, kid. I can handle risky, but this seems downright stupid. You're probably... Okay. I took my eyes off as I was clicking continue. I guess it was like, hey, you can do it? Yeah, you're right. You're probably right. Better safe than sorry. Let me talk to them. I'll get us in. Why don't I talk to them? I might convince them to let us in. He gives you a look as if you just ripped a massive fart. Right. Look, kid, it's not that I don't trust you, but how about we give that raw animal magnetism of yours a dry run, huh? Pretend I'm one of the cops guarding the entrance. Convince me to let you in. There's quite a few... There's quite a few, like, you know, mistakes in this game with like, some of them are, like, spelling or like, what's it called? Grammar. Pose as a tenant. Evening, officers. I live here. Is there a problem?
Yeah, this here's an active crime scene. Be on your way.
But
Hey, it's your butt against mine. Get lost.
maybe you're... Trust me, I'll think of something.
Fair enough. Go get him, Tiger. I'll stay close by, just in case things go south.
You get out of your car, slamming the door a bit too loudly for your own good. As you cross the street already, you feel like you've made a big mistake. Oh well, too late to turn back now. Might as well give it your best shot. As you approach the cops, your whole body tenses up. It's funny, considering all the things that you've seen the past few nights, that this would make you nervous. And yet, it does. The two officers seem engaged in a heated debate regarding last night's Mets game. You stop just a few steps away and open your mouth. Whatever is about to come out, it better be good. Hey, I live here. Is there a problem? And just like that, you freeze. One of the cops notices you and gives you a slight nod.
Hey, yeah. If you're going in, make sure to stay away from 209.
Active crime scene, you know? And with that, they get back to arguing whether or not the umpire was bought and paid for, or not. Utterly confused, you piece together what's left of your senses and hurry past them. Inside the building, D'Angelo stands in the hallway, dumbfounded. As you open your mouth, he stops you with a gesture.
Don't even talk to me right now.
In awkward silence, you both make your way up to the second floor. Finding the crime scene proves easy enough. You just follow the yellow police tape, and before you know it, you're standing in the middle of what used to be someone's living room. The place has been completely trashed, knocked over furniture, shattered glass, the works. Looking around, you notice a sign scribbled on a nearby wall. It reads, "His gift, our fate." You're no expert in typography, but the crooked letters look similar to the ones you saw back in Red Hook. Sure enough, there's very little in terms of blood, save for the occasional stain that's bound to end up on the carpet once you toss someone through a glass coffee table. D'Angelo leans against the doorway. He seems lost in his thoughts, sucking on his cigar compulsively and mumbling to himself. You lean in a bit, trying not to make it obvious you're listening in. You manage to catch the last few lines of his monologue.
The night's been kind to them so far, but the questions kept piling on, and now they found themselves amid the wreckage of another life. It was up to them to sift through the debris and come up with a neat little pile of answers.
Suddenly, he tenses up, as if sensing your eyes upon him.
Feel free to chip in, kid. Anything catches your eye?
This place is a mess. That is totally what a Toreador would say. Someone sure did a number on this place.
That they did. Any more to that thought?
The victim wasn't mesmerized. The victim was fully conscious. If the killer is kindred, they're not too good with this whole vampire shtick.
Bingo! No properly fledged vampire would allow themselves to be this sloppy. God damn it, I hate where this is going.
Why? It looks like you were right. The thin blood angle seems to check out. It looks like you were right.
Yeah, well this time, I'd rather be wrong, alright? Anyway, looks like we're not getting any more out of this place. No way around it, we gotta see the body.
Are you protecting thin bloods? You have a thing for thin bloods, D? Because it looks like you're desperately trying to prove they're not involved in this.
Look, kid, the Dust Barn have shitty luck as it is. If I'm gonna accuse one of them of breaking the Masquerade, the least I can do is some goddamn due diligence.
He shoots you a scornful look.
Like a goddamn detective would.
He mumbles to himself for a short while, but ultimately he regains his composure. and his train of thought.
Luckily for us, I might know someone who will get us an audience with our dearly departed.
To your surprise, he pulls out a cell phone, a busted old clamshell. He flips it open and spends a good minute browsing through the contacts, muttering to himself. Finally, he makes the call.
Hey, you know who this is. Yeah, that favor you owe me? Time to deliver. Listen, I know you got a fresh one. The murder in Bed-Stuy. I need to take a look. Yeah, now. Yeah, you'd better.
With that, he hangs up and gives you his trademark wry smile. We good?
Yeah, we good. Next stop, Kings County.
Kings County, the bleeding heart of Brooklyn. It's beating as hard as ever with ambulance after ambulance bringing in sick and wounded New Yorkers to be pumped through the tight arteries of our healthcare system. It's a dangerous place for a kindred to show their face, incessantly crowded and full of people who specialize in noticing all sorts of physical afflictions, especially the sort that make up the very essence of a vampire's existence, for example, death. Thankfully, your business here tonight keeps you away from the hectic human hive of the ER. Instead, you follow D'Angelo to a relatively quiet part of the underground parking lot that's closest to your current point of interest, the Kings County Morgue. Having found yourself a convenient and suitably unlit spot near the hospital wall, you wait patiently for D'Angelo's contact to appear. Every now and then, you glance over at the undead gumshoe, as if to make sure his mouldy mug isn't showing any signs of worry. It doesn't, or at least he's very good at hiding it. Finally, after 30 minutes or so, a lone figure emerges from a side entrance. As the human-shaped shadow walks by, you're quick to recognize him as the EMT you saw back at the murder site. Clearly nervous, the 20-something-year-old redhead can't seem to help but look back, making sure no one is following him. Finally, he stops and lights up a cigarette. Without even looking in your direction, he takes a puff and exclaims seemingly to no one in particular, "Room 112. You got 20 minutes." D'Angelo speaks without looking at you.
That's our cue.
You follow the Fang detective through the same door the EMT walked out of. Luckily, this wing of the hospital seems unusually empty. Still, the confidence with which D'Angelo makes his way through the white and green corridors makes it clear. He's been here before. Finally, he stops in front of one of the doors, room 112. That's your stop. The room is small, with only one oversized freezer by the wall, and a single slab mounted in its center. Sure enough, the body of a middle-aged man is splayed out on its steel surface. Even for a dead man, he seems unnaturally pale. Extreme blood loss will do that to you. Try as you might, you can't help but look at the man's face. His features twisted in abject horror. This was not a peaceful death. Looking closely, you notice 2 small puncture wounds on the victim's neck. If ever there was a clearer sign of a vampire attack, you're yet to see it. Looking over to D'Angelo, you notice his lips moving in a familiar motion. He's narrating again. Before he can utter an intelligible word, you cut in with a remark. Look at his face. It's like nightmare fuel.
No kidding. Which means he was fully aware all the way through. He knew he was dying. Which, combined with the blood loss and the teeth marks on his necks, confirms our hypothesis. We have a thin blood serial on our hands. Fuck.
As if on cue, the door swings open. A tired-looking man with a stethoscope around his neck walks in. With his eyes fixed on his clipboard, he doesn't appear to notice you yet.
Get him!
Letting your instinct take over, you pounce on the unsuspecting doctor, plunging your fangs into his aorta. The precious liquid tastes sickeningly sweet, making you feel a bit lightheaded. It appears the good doctor has been getting high on his own supply. It takes you a moment to get your fill, but when you're finally done, you immediately feel D'Angelo's eyes upon you. You start coming up with an excuse, but he just smirks.
You're quick, kid, I'll give you that. Beat me to it by a pube.
Now come on.
Let's get out of here.
Why do they keep doing that?
Time to pay our dear Primogen another visit.
Robert Larson's home looks about the same as last time. No added security, no angry dogs prowling the yard. It appears that the thin-blood Primogen would rather risk another visit from his old pal, D'Angelo, than to arouse suspicion of his family and neighbours. Which is good, considering that that's what he's about to get. Sure enough, the light in Larson's study is on, and you even catch a glimpse of the man himself shuffling around the room. You look over to D'Angelo, wondering how you're going to get Larson's attention this time. Without a single word, D'Angelo walks over to a nearby street lamp and leans against it, making sure he's visible to any and all who happen to look. Looks like the time for subtlety is over. It only takes a couple of minutes for Larson to take notice. You see him lean against the window and storm out of the room. In mere seconds, he's out in front and in D'Angelo's face.
Listen to me, you moldy fuck. I've had just about enough of your shit. You want to pester me? Fine. But leave my family out of it.
For a moment, D'Angelo just stands there, motionless, allowing Larson to get his frustrations out. Suddenly, he grabs the thin blood by the collar, lifts him off the ground, and smashes his back against the lamppost.
Are you finished? Alright. Now you listen to me, and listen good. You think I'm enjoying this? You think I like to be jerked around? You think I got nothing better to do than hang around this little puppet theater you've made for yourself? Now, either you give me a lead I can follow, or I'll start remembering things you'd rather forget.
Ow! For the first time since you met him, Larson looks speechless. His eyes wide with fear, he can only mutter under his breath. You wouldn't dare.
Try me.
Cue awkward silence. You stand there, shifting your eyes from one vampire to the other. Guess it's time to either press the advantage or play the good cop. Take it easy, D. Take it easy, D'Angelo. Let's not make a scene.
Why not? I like making a scene. It's not like we're getting shit done. Might as well make a show of it.
If you want my help, put me the fuck down. With his feet back on the ground, Larson straightens his collar in a faint attempt at preserving some shred of dignity. There's a place in Manhattan, Lower East Side. One of the few places in the city where my people can find shelter.
Yeah, I know it.
If you go there right now, you might find what you're looking for. D'Angelo stares at him for a moment, just long enough to make it uncomfortable.
We'd better.
Finally, D'Angelo loosens his grip. You both watched Larson limp back to his house, looking back over his shoulder like he's going to tell the teacher on you. You look to your partner, meaning to ask what that whole things you'd rather forget deal was. As if sensing your curiosity, D'Angelo cuts in with a preemptive mutter.
Come on, we got what we came for.
As you reach the address Larson gave you, you find yourselves standing in front of what looks like an old garage. On the outside, the place looks as uninteresting as it gets. You'd think it abandoned if not for the few barely working lights illuminating its shabby facade. Once you're inside, however, if ever there was a place worthy of being called a wretched hive of scum and villainy, this is probably it. The room is littered with drunks and crackheads, human and thin blood alike, their minds lost in their cruel little worlds, their bodies splayed out across the floor. D'Angelo leans over and whispers in your ear.
I'll cover the back door. You stay near the front. Let's look around and see what we can find.
Before you could ask what exactly you're supposed to be looking for, D'Angelo disappears into the shadows. Let's go with Auspex. I think that, well, you know what? Let's just look around. Doing your best to blend in with the crowd, which is fairly difficult considering your upright position, you slowly make your way across the large room. Not really knowing what you're looking for, you focus on the details. A knowing smirk, a hateful stare, anything that looks even the slightest bit suspicious. After a dozen or so empty stares, you're almost ready to give up when suddenly something catches your eye. A young skinny woman hunched in the corner of the room. She gives you a bewildered look, a 1,000-yard stare that tells you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, it's her. As you walk towards her, D'Angelo emerges from the shadows right next to you.
Nice catch.
He kneels down beside her. You can tell he's trying to sound as comforting as possible, but with his gravelly timbre, it's not really working out.
Hey, it's okay. We're not here to hurt you. We just want to talk.
No, don't talk. Too loud, too loud. She seems halfway out of it. It's like the lights are on, but whoever's inside has been stumbling around after one hell of a bender.
Alright, you like it quiet. Got it. Can you tell me your name?
Sana. That's what he called me. Suddenly you hear the door swing open behind you. Even though the night is fairly warm, a cold chill rushes down your spine. You look towards the entrance. There is a woman standing there, and something about her just screams kindred. Even though she seems comically overdressed for the situation, somehow you don't feel like cracking a smile. Whoever she is, you can tell she means business. She starts making her way to the back of the room, not making any effort to sidestep any of the junkies and drunks. They all know well enough to get out of her way. Acting out of bravery or sheer stupidity, you walk up to her. She looks at you as if you were something she just scraped off her shoe. You smile nervously without even knowing it. Hey, what's a girl like you doing at a place like this? I feel like he'd revert back to flirting when nervous and a bit out of his mind on like, fear. As soon as you open your mouth, her hand shoots out, grabbing you by the throat. The woman looks at you, tilting her head as if examining a curious specimen of insect. Suddenly, her eyes shift and she notices something behind you. Her face turns from disgusted curiosity to sheer annoyance.
You! Hey, Val. That's my assistant you got there. Do you mind?
She rolls her eyes. You feel the grip on your neck loosen and awkwardly fall to your feet. She makes her way towards D'Angelo, pushing you aside like a ragdoll.
Where is she? You're gonna have to be a bit more specific, darling.
Don't play coy, Ginny. The manslayer. I know she's here. A blood hunt has begun. By order of the prince herself. The girl is to meet her final death.
Hold your horses, honey. I'm conducting an investigation under the auspices of the sheriff. That counts for something, too.
Look, sweetie, I'm not here for some clit measuring contest. You want this to get ugly? Be my guest. Otherwise, I suggest you step aside and let me do my job.
By all means.
He steps aside in a comically exaggerated fashion. You look to the corner where you last saw Sana, but no trace of the girl. Find no trace of the girl.
Well, I'll be. I could have swore she was just here.
Valerie looks at D'Angelo. She smiles softly, but you could tell she's trying very hard not to rip his head off. You'll regret this.
Story of my life.
Without another word, she turns on her heel and storms out. D'Angelo waves his hand in your general direction.
Come on, kid. Let's get out of this shithole.
As you emerge from said shithole, you feel the cool night breeze caress your face. It's soothing and almost makes you forget how shitty the last few hours have been. Almost.
Okay, kid. I know you got questions, but it's getting early, and I don't feel like having a Q&A session right now. For now, you get your one question. Make it count.
What do we do now? Our perp's gone, and now we're on some psycho chick's shit list. What the hell do we do now?
Well, the good news is we know who we're looking for. The bad news, Valerie knows it as well. She's a scourge, kid. Part enforcer, part assassin. All around pain in the ass. We'll be seeing more of her. You can bet on it. And before you ask, yes, we've run into each other in the past. No, I don't feel like talking about it. Alright, kid, I don't know about you, but I'm turning in, and my voice actor, his voice fucking hurts right now. I'll figure some stuff up. Keep looking out for our girl. Feel free to swing by the office in a night or two.
And with that, he stumbles off into the distance, not even bothering to keep to the shadows. Can't say you blame him. It really has been a rough night. Pardon me, but goddamn. I like D'Angelo, but that hurts. Okay, so we can't do anything else today. We need to rest, so we will rest. Knock knock. You'd ask who's there, but you don't know if the Sheriff of New York would play along. When you open the door, you see him toying with the car keys he's holding in his hand. Ready to go, fledgling? You don't feel you are, but you give him a nod nevertheless. Excellent. Stick close. He leads you down to the vehicle he's parked nearby. Once again, he takes the wheel, literally and figuratively. Everything's inside, just the way you remember it. Down to the rearview mirror reflecting an intense stare of your guide. Okay, whoever made this game, I like this game. You need to have like 3 or 4 minimum people playing through and just reading through all of it. Not even playing, literally just reading through all of it. However, the trip itself feels notably different. The last time Kadir was driving you around, he was forcibly dragging you away from your old life. This time, he's pulling you back into it. M. Let me tell you how it's going to go. As I've said, I've arranged a meeting between you and your kin. It's going to take place somewhere you should know very well. I'll watch over you two from a safe distance to make sure you adhere to the rules. You should know those very well, but I'll reiterate just so you can't ever say I didn't warn you. Don't do anything that would violate the Masquerade. Don't establish some secret routes of contact. I will know. Do treat it as the last time you two meet. Take this chance to wrap everything up. Here's your story. You're fine, found yourself on the crossroads, decided to radically change your life and move out of the city. The subway is unbearable, the rent is too high. They've heard it all. However, you wouldn't leave for good without saying farewell to the only person who cared. He gives you a compassionate stare. It's going to leave a scar, boy. But a true artist knows those are not something to hide, but to display with pride. You're a fresh corpse. People you meet can still leave a mark on you. One night, a long time from now, you'll realize you miss collecting new wounds. The car makes a sudden turn. I leave the finer details to you. Just be so kind and don't make me regret it. You can sense he's going out of his way for you, but doesn't try to force you into gratitude by stating it plainly. If you know, you know. He'll see if you were worthy of his aid. We're here. You take a look around to recognize your destination. He was right, it is a familiar place. It's right next to that exhibition place, the one you met your future sire in. This is where you've seen Emma for the last time. This is where they've last seen poor Daedalis. Who knows whatever might happen to him. That's what your sister is trying to find out. I took the liberty of messaging her in your stead. She's up there waiting for you to come and explain yourself. He turns off the engine and relaxes comfortably in his seat. You silently leave the car and head straight for the exhibition space. The elevator ride up just doesn't want to end. After what felt like 5 hours, but in reality was closer to 30 seconds, you finally reach your floor. Em is standing there looking at the paintings. She's trying carefree, but holding her bag a little too tightly. When she hears your footsteps, she's startled. Then she sees you and her eyes immediately fill with tears. She runs up to you and gives you a hearty hug. God damn it, Daedalis. God damn it. You stay in her arms, silent, for a little while. The bonds of blood run deep. This feels right. You're so cold. What happened to you? You look into her eyes and start searching your heart for a lie that would satisfy her, if only a little bit. You can't come up with anything convincing, so you decide to tell her the only truth you're able to share. Em, I only want you to know this. I love you. If there was one person I ever loved, it was you. I've always known about all the things you did to save my stupid ass, and I wish I could She hugs you more tightly in response, but quickly lets you go. She's not satisfied. She wants answers. What happened? Daedalis, talk to me. All the life-saving work she sent your way, from a job of concept artist to this very exhibition. I've been losing my mind. Talked to literally everybody I know to ask when was the last time they'd seen you. All the times she helped you get your shit together. I've always been honest with you. The least you can do is return the favor. She has, and she absolutely deserves to know, but she can't. Kadir is waiting downstairs. Daedalis! Her voice startles you. Your first instinct is to run. And, like a beast you've become, you trust it. Daedalis? You can't do this. Not now. Not like this. She watches as you, kindred, an undying creature of the night, zoom away from her, run into the elevator, and press the ground floor button. This might be the last time you ever see each other. At least look in her in the eyes and force yourself to tell her one last thing. Don't search for me, for your and my own good. She's too stunned to react as the elevator's doors close. You slide down the wall, hiding your face in your arms. You find your own priorities disgusting, but what gets you down the most is not the fact you failed to give closure to the only person. But what gets you down the most is not the fact you failed to give closure to the only person you cared about. It's more that you failed to make this farewell beautiful. It makes you feel like a failure of an artist. Even with all this newfound power, you still can't express yourself through the canvas of your life. You're still stuck in your old ways. But you know Em, she'll take the pain you've caused her and use it to make art that resonates, that sells. What if an authentic trauma is the best gift you could find to repay all her generosity? Jesus Christ, you're disgusting. If you consider all of those emotions commodities, no wonder you're a failure of an artist. The elevator doors open. Better run while she's still up there. Back to Kadir's car. Once you close the door, he instantly puts his foot on the gas pedal. Walking off the pitch with no regrets? Said everything you had to say? Kadir sighs. Yeah, that's what I gathered from here. I'll keep an eye on the situation, placate her somehow if she won't stop looking. Now, I've got some well-tested methods. Non-violent, of course. He gives you a good stare through the rearview mirror. You're an artist, aren't you? You nod half-heartedly. So, you of all people should know things never work out the way you planned. There could have been more time to plan. Tools that could help you execute it better. Perfection is just an accident. The only thing you can do is give it your best shot, given the circumstances, and immediately move on to the next thing. When all is said and done, regret is nothing but narcissism and a waste of time. Sophie, your coterie, those are the materials you've been given, and they are potent ones. Make the best use of them, so that they might create something more beautiful than your artist tools ever did. And as a side note, I envy you. I wish I still had someone to make my knees feel like jelly. Even when you can't see them anymore, just knowing they're there keeps you in touch with what you once were. The car speeds up to cross an intersection before the light turns red. You give Kadir a good, hard look. Thanks. It doesn't feel like a, how should you call it, very vampire thing to say, but you say it nevertheless. He's visibly taken aback, with his usually furrowed brow smoothing out for a moment. Then he takes on a serious, slightly sorrowful expression. Don't suck up to me, kid. Mr. Bad Guy is still here, and without a doubt, he will go back to decapitating suckers like you any time now. The car starts slowing down. We're here. You look out the window and see your haven. Take care, I'll see you around. Just pray I don't have to see you too often. You leave the car and start walking to your haven, thinking about Kadir. Can't say you're fond of him, what with the welcome he gave you and all, but after tonight, you can't say you aren't either. You're going to need some more time to understand him, that's for sure. So we're halfway through the night. Okay, so D'Angelo's got something. You guys probably want the drunk Tremors, right? Alright. We'll go see Agathon. You know what to expect when you return to the small bookstore serving as Agathon's haven. The cacophony of occult imagery assaults you from the book covers displayed on the window, but under the fake facade, there's something real. This time, the Buddhas and the satanic Bibles of the storefront seem almost funny. Or perhaps you've just started to tune into the dry humour of these Tremere. These Tremere are never dry. Just as you're about to ring the doorbell, the door opens and Agathon storms out. You step aside just in time to avoid having him stumble into you. Daedalis, what are you doing here? Blair. Window shopping? For books that would help me understand the wicked beast I've become? Agathon looks at you and sighs. Please, no jokes. I don't have the energy to deal with your attempts at humor, Blair. Agathon walks to his car with you in tow. It didn't occur to you the last time, but it's a surprisingly pedestrian vehicle. An aging, mid-sized family sedan. You imagine what it would look like with a baby seat in the back. Opening the door on the driver's side, Agathon notices your look.
Laugh all you want, but it's inconspicuous and practical, Blair.
You sit in the car and Agathon starts driving in his usual carefree style. At least you'll never be stopped by traffic cops. It seems Agathon is not interested in small talk. I'm going to comment on the night because I'm a Toreador, and we notice beauty. On a beautiful night like this, it's not too bad being kindred. Agathon turns slowly to look at you, both hands on the wheel, in exactly the same position you remember a driving instructor demonstrate to you long ago. You exit Manhattan over the Brooklyn Bridge and soon reach the site of the nightclub that seems to be your destination. It's on the riverfront, a converted former warehouse. After Agathon has parked the car, it's time for you to enter the nightclub. You glance at the Tremere, evaluating him. It's obvious this is not his kind of a place. It's not your kind of a place, not exactly, but you've probably been here and just forgotten it. For a bunch of perennially penniless archetypes, your friends were always good at travelling through every gutter in search of a high.
There's a good chance to research notes here, Blair.
Let's go.
Excellent, Blair.
There's a line to the club. It looks like a popular night, even if based on the crowd, this is not exactly a place for supermodels and celebrities. I'm gonna wait in line. You join the line with Agathon. He looks uncomfortable, as if he had hoped that you could somehow get you in faster. I was thinking about using presents, but then I was like, in public, you know, I don't want to keep a high profile all the time. I'm trying to limit my use of powers, except for when necessary, and this doesn't seem like we need to, it's not emergency or anything. It's better if we play it cool. No risk of blowing our cover, just two clubgoers waiting in line.
Fine, you're right. Let's not make a spectacle of ourselves, Blair.
You stand in line for 15 minutes, but eventually you get past the bouncer and step inside. The music beats down on you, bringing with it memories of a human existence. The first time you went dancing with friends, when you flirted with someone on the dance floor. This time it's different. You're a predator and everyone around you is prey. Tightly packed, twitching sacks of blood and tissue. You sense the emotions all around you, blood tinted with happiness, lust, rage, jealousy, love, a buffet of sensations.
Focus, keep an eye out for trouble while I look for what we came to find, Blair.
You nod and follow Agathon through the thong, trying to ignore all the warmth, flesh, and circulating blood around you. We don't need to drink from anyone right now, to be honest. We're doing fine in terms of thirst, so focus on helping Agathon. Eyes on the ball. You came here to help Agathon, and that's what you'll do. Agathon wades through the dancing people purposefully, yet you have no idea how he searches for the missing research notes. Perhaps he's using the enhanced senses of a vampire, or some esoteric sorcery. At least he seems to know what he's doing.
Judo, Blair.
You swerve to avoid a drunken man who is just about to spill a beer onto you and try to see what Agathon is looking at. A young woman, intense, purposeful. A little out of place at the nightclub, just like you and Agathon. Who's Juno?
She's Tremere, a renegade. Bad news, Blair.
The woman, Juno, elbows a drunken man out of her way and points a finger at Agathon's face.
Agathon, you traitor! Don't you dare stand between me and what's mine, Blair!
You look at the woman in surprise. She's clearly drunk. Her appearance stands in contrast with the anger in her words.
Juno, you
no, Aisling will not let you leave with the notes. Perhaps she won't let you leave at all, Blur. Juno pulls Agathon close to Agathon's face and stage whispers loudly enough for you to hear her over the music. You're still so brainwashed to care about what Aisling fucking Sturbridge wants? I'm done jumping through her hoops. I don't know what I saw in you, Agathon. You're such a lapdog. Bleh. She's your ex? Sorry to interrupt, but is this woman your ex? Yes, we used to date, Blair. Maybe we still would if you weren't such a fucking coward, Agathon, Blair! That's not fair, Juno, Blair. It's fair and you know it. You're too busy licking Aisling's boots to realize what we had, Blair. Aisling doesn't wear boots, Blair. Don't correct me, Blair! I'm losing my shit. With a start, you realise Juno is genuinely upset. It's hard to say how long ago they broke up, but the wounds are still there. You're the kind of man who takes the side of his boss against his girlfriend, Blair. Juno's eyes glisten red with the blood of her tears. You look at Agathon with uncertainty. It was fake, you great good, Blair. Juno steps back, suddenly cold. Ignoring the people dancing all around, she stares hard at Agathon. The past is the past. The traditions are dead to me. You won't stop me, Agathon. I'll make sure of that here and now. You know I have the power, Blair. No, Juno, please, Blair. Agathon sounds panicked. He's not worried about his own survival, but of the possibility that Juno is going to unleash a genuine masquerade breach. I'm a sucker punch Juno! You step towards Juno and punch her in the face as hard as you can. Her nose flattens and she grunts in pain as her body crashes into the dancing people behind her. In a few short seconds, you've caused a general panic at the nightclub. People pick themselves up from the floor, scream, try to push their way outside. The music stops and the lights come on. Suddenly, you're blinking in the cold, white halogen light. A young man is crawling away on all fours. Juno stands up. That was a mistake, Blair! You expect Juno to create mystical blood magics or just hit you back with her fist. You're caught flat-footed when she steps up and kisses you straight on the mouth. You feel something trickling from her mouth into yours. It should be blood, but it's not. Rancid, burning, choking, Juno's blood has become a toxin that scorches you from the inside. In a panic, you look to Agathon for help, only to discover he's gone. You try to croak out, is this death? Oh god, are we dead? You try to croak out words and Juno touches you on the chest, smiling like the predator she is. You feel a sudden pang of hunger as if the blood inside you has suddenly become sour and unusable. Juno flies across the room and crashes into a wall. You advance on her slowly as she stands awkwardly with what looks like a skull fracture. Your blow would have killed a human. Juno looks at you one more time before running into the crowd. We're done here, let's go, Blair. You're startled at Agathon's sudden appearance. He skipped the fight, but now he's back. This could be a masquerade breach. Let's hope the crowd is too drunk to supply the details, Blair. You try to mend the damage Juno inflicted on you, but you're hungry and something is resisting you, as if the malign influence of Juno's magic persists in your body. You glance at Agathon warily. Does he command similar powers? Outside, you walk to Agathon's car and drive back over the Brooklyn Bridge to Manhattan, heading for Agathon's haven. Juno mentioned some things that are personal. I trust your discretion in not talking about those things to Eiling, Blair. Of course. Your love life is your business. Thank you, Blair. After a while, you reach Agathon's haven, and he parks the car. You walk to the occult bookstore, and Agathon asks you inside. The smell of incense assaults you as before, making you grateful not to have to breathe. You follow Agathon upstairs to find Eiling Sturbridge in an armchair reading an old book. She puts a bookmark in place as you come in. You were successful, I hope, Blair? No, I'm sorry. The darts beat there, but not anymore, Blair. That's a shame. I hope you won't run out of time. How did Sophie's little protege do, Blair? Agathon turns to look at you. Well, surprisingly well, Blair. That's a surprise. I'll have to give Sophie a compliment on her choice, Blair. We met Judo. Fortunately, she hasn't found the notes either, Blair. That's interesting, Blair. The High Regent turns to look at you. Really? Okay, driven. She's very driven. It skipped a thing, I think. She's very driven, motivated. I don't think she'll desist easily. You're probably right. Judo could have made a great member of our house. Different circumstances, Blair. Instead, she became a headache. You'll understand if you have children of your own some night, fledgling Blair. Anyway, I have some things to discuss with Agathon. Go along now, Blair. You leave the occult bookstore, wondering why all Tremere sound like drunken idiots, the cheesy, mystical music still in your ears as you walk away. You wonder about what? You wonder about what happened with Judo. Why is she so anxious to leave her clan? Can she really do that? Could you leave Sophie's services if she wanted to, Blair? Where did that come from? Anywho, we will rest. Because yeah, we need to rest. And we can do more next episode, which I think probably we'll just do D'Angelo and Agathon again, because these are fairly interesting. We could do the Stalker as well. We'll have a think next episode.